almost saw Peter Wright handing Tytus Kanik a walkover as he stumbled around on stage during his walk-on music, and thankfully Peter Wright survived that particular scare, and he had to survive a scare yesterday as well as he came through in the end against Chris Dobey to secure his place in the last 16 here at the Steiermark-Halle. Wright led 5-2 before Dobey hit back to level things up, but Peter Wright in the end just about got the job done. As for Tytus Kanik, well, it was he who accounted for last year's champion here, Johnny Clayton, beaten 6-2 by the Polish player, and Kanik through to the final day on the European Tour for the first time this year. Kanik against Peter Wright for a place in the quarterfinals and for the right to take on Michael van Gerwen in the last 8 this evening. Paul Nicholson alongside me, Rob Belarkey.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this Sunday session because of the whole Mensah Suljovic Rimmer van Barneveld thing yesterday. It was a nice precursor to what we could see today when Suljovic takes on Wade later, which is definitely the main course of the menu. But Snakey was decent yesterday, but there's a lot more in the tank.
First leg, Tytus to throw first. Game on.
Just going back to what you were saying at the start about a walkover. Well, Tytus Kanik is so tall he could probably walk over Peter Wright when he's standing tall.
66.
Well, Tytus Kanik has just avoided the potential horror show of 3 treble ones to start things off in this third round encounter.
100.
It's the first time he's made the last 16 of a European Tour event. The previous best was a run to the second round here this year, and also at the European Darts Open last year.
I think the big lad's getting a bit of confidence, isn't he, because of recent results, and maybe he's playing with a bit more urgency because of the 100. Fact that this is his second year on tour, and if he's not in the top 64 by the end of the World Championships, he'll have to go back to Hildesheim to get a card again, and he doesn't want to do that. Peter Snakebite Wright is one of only a couple of dart players you could probably see from the International Space Station.
85.
The other one is MVG, because you know what colour he is. Kanik could probably touch the International Space Station with his hand if he stood a little taller.
Yeah, the Green Machine, Michael van Gerwen, dropping just 1 leg in his first 2 matches this weekend in Graz to reach his umpteenth Euro Tour quarter-final. Top stand for Kanik for an opening holder throw.
40.
And that just, well, may open the door for Peter Wright to steal a leg on the Kanik throw.
Yeah, similar sort of equation. He may stay on the 20 if he gets the single. He's going to go 16. He's got enough clearance over the top, but double 12.
64.
That was a slip. It's not a good sign at the start of this match for Snakey. Missing a big 16 and hitting the double. But he'll be able to put it out of his mind, hopefully. As Kanik looks at double 10.
30.
He wasn't missing those yesterday and on Friday.
No, he certainly wasn't. He was pretty ruthless against Johnny Clayton yesterday. So Peter Wright is now looking at double 6, and he's dancing all over the board here, Peter Wright, in this first leg of the match, and he's not found double 3 with that one either. However, Peter Wright does secure the early break. Just watching Peter Wright going into the double 16 and then looking at double 12, it happened yesterday as well, where he was looking at double 18 and he hit the double 4 instead and had to switch over to double 14. That was at a pivotal moment in the match against Chris Dobey as well. It was in the 10th leg, I think, so it was just at a time when Dobey had clawed his way back to 5-4.
125.
And Wright was looking at 72. He went double 18, missed those, and then he returned, hit the double 4,
40.
Missed the double 14, and then eventually was taken to a deciding leg, which he won with a 104 checkout on double 60.
Tends to happen when you flip-flop between sets of darts and sets of stems and all that kind of stuff. He's used many sets this year already with many different lies, different lengths, different weights,
97.
and sometimes you have to work really hard when you do that on every dart. It just isn't a natural thing. You can't throw like Van Gerwen where you don't even have to aim, you can just do it without even looking. But with Peter, I think he's got to work hard on every dart. And I think that's a good thing for him, because he's already said that the constant changing of equipment allows him to stay focused, so he can put everything into every dart. But he does make the odd mistake, but in this second leg he's made very few, leaving 96 after 9, and consequently leaving double 8 after... Well, he leaves nothing after 12. That is more like it.
Well, that's more like it from Kanik as well. He's a very capable player.
Capable Kanik. Very much so. We saw flashes at the start of last season from Kanik as to what he could do. He's a bit of an unknown quantity, really. We didn't know anything about him when he got through Q School. But then when he came on tour, we learned about him pretty quickly. But then he phased out a little bit at the back end of last year. But at the start of this season, he seems to have refocused himself really well.
Yeah, I mean, he's a player that I've enjoyed watching when I've seen him on the European Tour. He's clearly, you know, a player who's moving in the right direction. Not quite on a par with what Ratajski was doing, given the number of tournaments that Ratajski qualified when he first burst onto the scene. But there are similarities. Obviously, he's a Polish player as well, but just the progression he's likely to make. I don't think it will be as swift as Ratajski, but I think there's potential there for... you know, for Kanik to become an established
82.
Pro Tour player.
Yeah, I think with the technique of Tito, it's all about timing, and he has a little turn of the hand at the back end of the backlift. And I think if you have that kind of an action, it's all about timing. I mean, it is anyway, but more so with those guys who turn the dart away from their face. Very much like Ronnie Baxter used to do. They have to recorrect the line of the dart when they throw it through the line.
100.
And when he gets it right, he's absolutely deadly. He's not like a Chris Dobie who just puts the arm up straight, brings it back straight and throws it straight. It's a bit more complicated with the big pole.
46. Tytus, you require 80.
So double 10 for Kanik for a hold of throw. Nicely done. That will settle him down nicely indeed. A very confident takeout of the 80 with 2 darts. No messing around there from the pole. It was a strange encounter that with Dobie yesterday, though. Dobie, of course, had that arduous battle in his opening match as well, but Peter Wright led 5-2 against Dobie yesterday, including a 12-dart break of throw. He did seem to be in a very good place, and I think Dobie, when he played Gilding in the first round, I think he ran out of luck in the end. I think he used up all his lucky charms in that opening match because he survived 9 match darts against Gilding.
59.
Yeah, I was talking to Chris walking over to the venue this morning. He was walking with Ryan Searle, who's going to be going home this afternoon, and Chris just looked at me and said, I would have played Tytus Kanik this afternoon. And you can see in his eyes just how much he's rued the opportunities from this weekend. He thinks
60.
that if he'd played Kanik, he would have got through to the quarters.
Although it happened before in Austria with Dobie, where he came through the first 2. He did actually come through the first 2 rounds of qualifying, and then he had what looked to be, on paper, the easiest tie of the lot when he faced Kim Viljanen, but then lost that one anyway. So who's to say that Kanik wouldn't have accounted for Dobie anyway? But I know what he's saying. It would have been a great opportunity for him to advance to a quarter-final on the European Tour.
Well, he'll just have to come back to Austria and try it at Vienna again, which is where that game was. Double top for an 11-darter. That is very good indeed, and on his throw, Peter Wright. Ooh, watch out. He's been absolutely pinpoint. And Peter Wright has just done something there in that leg that has not been done to Kanik all the way through his tournament. He has not lost more than 2 legs. In his first, second, 4th and 5th games getting up to here, he'd only lost 2 legs in the match. And in the middle one in the middle, which got him here against Jan Decker, he only lost 1. So Peter Wright is putting the sword to the big man.
140.
Well, a 180 on the Kanik throw puts Peter Wright in a very good position indeed. He would bring the house down if he were to find 9 perfect darts, but it's just the 3. But you're right, Paul. I mean, on throw, Peter Wright so far, 12-dart hold and an 11-dart hold. If he maintains those sorts of standards, having got the early break, he will be a very difficult player to break down. A very tough nut to crack here for Tytus Kanik.
I'll say one thing as well. If he does get through this game, it'll be a long time since he's played MVG in a quarter-final.
Yes, I was just looking into that. I thought, and my thoughts were confirmed when I double-checked, but the last time they met on the Euro Tour was in the final of the German Darts Grand Prix last year. They met in 2 finals at the start of 2018. MVG won them both. He's got a great record against Peter Wright in Europe, by the way. Well, he's got a great record against pretty much everyone in Europe. Yeah. But, yeah, 2 finals last year at the very start of 2018 for Michael van Gerwen and Peter Wright, and it would be their first meeting in over a year on the European Tour, which is, or may come as something of a surprise to you.
It's been almost predictable that Michael would be number 1 seed and Peter would be number 2 over the course of the last few seasons. It's weird to see him with an 8 next to his name, but the curse of the number 8 is that you would always play the number 1 in the world 74. And the number 1 seed in the quarter-finals. But he hasn't got through Kanik yet, and Kanik didn't get through that leg with a miss at the bull. And Wright, he gobbles up these kind of shots usually. He may look at the bull himself. 9 for double 16. This would be a vital break. This could break the spirit of Kanik. I thought it was in.
Oh. Peter Wright thought it was in as well.
That's awkward.
Yeah, that has just pitched very, very awkwardly indeed, and that is why Kanik is moving over to the left-hand side of the oche, and that's made life very difficult indeed. Find a way through that, Tytus. That's like a 5-man wall.
He's got an Andrew Gilding country over there. It was a great effort, though. I will give him that.
PT required 32.
I don't think Kanik was too distracted by the crowd. Didn't help matters.
That's just as awkward as the first start for Kanik on 15s. Clear bed now for double 8.
24. Tytus, you require 30.
Take 2 for Kanik. Double 15. Well, he's hit the 15. Then he's hit the double 15. He got there.
Well, it's 4 missed darts at a double for Peter Wright. He could have found himself 4-1 up. As it is, it's 3-2, but it's all about the throw for Peter Wright. Strong so far, and he just needs to maintain those standards. You mentioned the curse of the number 8 seed. It's also, in effect, the curse of the number 9 seed as well, because 8 always plays 9 as well. So it would have been something that could have afflicted Johnny Clayton had he come through this match with Kanik yesterday to face Peter Wright. But it's Kanik who's involved here, and he's still involved at 3-2. Needs to find the break.
That's the way the draw bracket works, isn't it? It's how we work out what games we're going to do at certain points, isn't it? Because the number 1 always plays against number 16 in the last 16 phase, and then actually 2 plays against 15, so everything adds up to 17.
Yeah, this is, I mean, I won't mention it again because I've mentioned it time and time again, but this is one of my
100.
minor irritations with the organisation. I mean, I'm not critical of it. I just think it would be nice to have that variety. I mean, I can see the logic. Okay, if you don't want to be number 8 seed or number 9 seed, do something about it. I can see the logic in that as well. But
do you think?
I think if you've got tournaments in quick succession and you have the possibility of the same players meeting again at the same stage of the tournament, that's when the
I'm with you on
problem
that.
lies.
I'm definitely with you on that. I think if you've got the word open involved in an event like this one, the Austrian Darts Open, then maybe have it a little bit more open. Whereas with a Grand Prix, which is, you know, the German Grand Prix and the European Grand Prix, I would have that double start to mirror the World Grand Prix, just to have a little bit of consistency with that. And you could have a seeded draw structure for other things like the Austrian Darts Championship, which is in Vienna later in the season. Just a few ideas.
Yeah, all it would take would be for the number 1 to play anybody bracketed between 9 and 16 rather than always number 16. Obviously keep that structure in place, but have that bracket available. Double 7 anyway for Peter Wright. I'll get off my high horse about this.
14.
Uh-oh. Could have a level game now.
44.
He's bossing it in the averages, Peter Wright. He's about 18 ahead. But that will be irrelevant if Tytus Kanik can get double 16 after a single 12. And he can. It is a level game. Stats mean nothing, but the scoreline is everything right now. And unbelievably, after amazing holds of throw from Peter Wright, He's up against it again.
Well, missed darts at a double once again for Peter Wright.
58.
Four missed darts at a double in leg 5, 4 missed darts at a double in leg 6. And he's paying the price.
It could be Labanauskas paying the price later on this afternoon as he takes on Gezi, which is the start of the second half of the draw. What kind of stick will Gezi get today? I wonder if the people in the crowd were monitoring his social media yesterday when he said that the crowd was as bad as England. Well, they love that. And why not? They came to see 180s and they're being delivered 180s in this one. 5 in the match.
5 of them so far.
Contrasting matches in the second half of the draw. Gezi's game with Labanauskas is then followed by Sulevic against Wade. And then he got cross-beaten Ian White against Keegan Brown to finish us off. But the next two games are brilliant. Lewis against Aspinall, Gurney and Webster. Great to see Mark Webster in the final day of a European tour. Bullseye. Now 15 for Bull, or just another 25. Now it's a bit of a gamble.
50.
I think if you get the 25 there and your opponent's on a finish, you've got to get the 15 in the Bull. Oh, should have got it.
Double 17.
137.
My word, that really would have stung Peter Wright very hard indeed. As it is, he's looking at tops. He's not being too convincing on his doubles, but he finds a double 20 when he needs it the most. And he's back in front at 4-3. That would have been a huge game changer had Tytus Kanik taken out that 154.
It was a really bold effort. And what I like about the shot at double 17 is it wasn't short. It had plenty on it. And Peter Wright was warned there. He's managed to get through that break throw, but next time, don't make that risk. Don't go for that 25 when you've got 2 darts left. You could easily hit a bullseye. You could easily miss the 25. Hit the 15 and go for the bull again. That's what Michael van Gerwen would do.
Yeah. He clearly gambled that Kanik wasn't going to take out the 154, but he very nearly did. Very different outcome, or a very different match to the one they had when they met, well, just a few weeks ago. In fact, their only previous meeting was on the Players' Championship circuit. It was in the middle of April at Players' Championship 11. Peter Wright winning that one 6-1 in the third round that day. But it's not going to be 6-1 today because Kanik is making a real fist of this. He was very close to a second 180 of the match that would have taken the match tally to 6.
54.
Small misses from Peter Wright have handed the throw back to Kanik. Is he going to use it? Going back upstairs smartly.
99.
What a shot that is.
That's brilliant. Really good adjustment that from Tytus Kanik. Really exploiting that gap on the right-hand side, but he had to work hard to find a way through. And he's down to 127.
A lot of people would have gone 17s there. And if he'd have got the single, he would have left 170.
100.
But he was confident on that 60, and rightly so.
Beautifully done. Double 8s.
119.
You're talking about game-changing shots. This is one right here.
132.
Little nod of approval. He knows that this will change this whole match. Bullseye needed, or a 25. Didn't need that. It's all in the hands of the pole again for a break back.
52.
This is a tight affair. Averages are out the window. They don't mean anything. Double 4s there. He has brought them back. He's starting to show a little bit more emotion than usual, is Tito.
3 successive breaks of throw, 2 of them for Kanik, have left this match very much in the balance, and the number 8 seed Peter Wright, a multiple European Tour champion, is just beginning to feel a little bit under pressure now from the pole.
58.
I think the question here is, can Kanik hold? Because it's been a breakfast in this match.
Well, he held in the third leg of this match with that 80 checkout. And there's every prospect that he might not hold here once again.
Yeah, here comes Wright with the assault on the Kanik throw once more. It's a good response because the first 4 darts of this leg from Kanik weren't good.
But Peter Wright has effectively won the darts here, and that is 4 perfect darts. However, that is not 5, but that would have been 6. And it would have left us all dreaming once again.
If only that 5th one had just snuck in the corner of the 60.
Tytus might fill this one up, though.
180.
Plenty of maximums in this one.
Might be another one here as well, although I suspect he won't go for it. Would have been a bit foolish had he left himself double 3 from that situation.
Fantastic leg of darts, this. Another maybe? Double 11. Oh, he's only a wire away from denying Righty a shot at 41 after 9. What an effort. And 2 big finishes like that may see him on the end of a defeat if Wright gets double 16. Does so. Another 11 from Snakebite. He shows some passion, but the miss at 154 and the miss at 142, that could cost the big man.
Yeah, double 11, that was a real heartbreaker for Tytus Kanik. He missed that double 8 as well in leg 8, but he eventually got the break anyway. But he's just missed those 2 opportunities, and well, okay, he's 5-4 down, he's still in touch here, but it could have been a much better position for Tytus Kanik. He might have already won this match 6-3 had those other legs just swung his way, but there we see this match has really just intensified over the last 3 legs. 13 darter, 13 darter, 11 darter. The hold of throw, or the break of throw for Peter Wright.
Well, Peter Wright will be buoyed by the fact he's got 5 180s in this match so far. His scoring is getting there. He can't seem to start with a good score on his throw. That has rescued it a little bit and put the pressure back on the big pole. Oh, that's not going to help.
Now then, this is well, it is hugely damaging. It's not potentially damaging. The maximum he can get here is 61, and he's got 61.
Fair play to the big man for doing that, because he looked exasperated after hitting that wire. He's got himself back in the leg with that 60.
He might still win this one as well. He could do with a slip-up or 2 from Peter Wright.
100.
Well, in NFL speak, Peter Wright is stiff-arming Tytus Kanik.
100.
He's chasing him.
I've got to say, I've never heard that before. Mind you, I'm not an NFL.
Putting your hand out to the guy who is the defender, and you're allowed to palm him off. It's called a stiff arm.
140.
That could be 1 nail in the coffin for Kanik. And the hammer, or the mallet, is in the hand of Snakebite to get the job done.
60.
6 darts from 84. You can't ask for better than that.
Well, Peter Wright hasn't made the quarterfinals on the Euro Tour since the German Darts Championship in Hildesheim at the end of March. He needs double 12 to advance to the last 8 here in Austria, and the celebrations remain on hold because Kanik is on 180 and Wright will return looking at double 6. But can Kanik apply any significant pressure?
100.
Well, that'll do. Should get a dart at a double if Wright slips up.
Earlier in the match, Snakebite needed double 3, didn't he? Will he need it this time? The answer is yes.
Potentially very awkward indeed for Peter Wright. Looking at double 3 and still looking at this missed opportunity. And he's left himself a trip to the madhouse should he get the chance.
Well, earlier on, Peter Wright was able to find that left-hand side of the double 3 after he blocked the bed. He couldn't do it this time. Kanik needs 20 in tops. Plenty of 20 on that. Half a bed to aim at the left. And he's hit the dart!
Oh.
Well, Snakey. 1 for double 1. There's only one way you can get this.
He's already missed 5 darts at a double in this match. In this leg, I should say. 5 match darts have passed him by. And there are a couple more.
How many match darts is that?
I make that 7.
You're right, it is 7. And he's not going to get any more in this leg. If he's going to beat Tytus Kanik, he's going to have to break him. Who feels broken now? How does he come back from 7 mismatched darts in that leg? Unbelievable. Does Kanik believe enough that he can get over the line here? One more salt from Peter Wright might be enough. He's going to have to summon the support of all those fans of his.
Well, it's all the 5s, isn't it? 5 successive breaks of throw, 5 legs apiece.
100.
15 darter might be enough.
99.
Tytus Kanik has never played in a quarter-final. He's never even played in the round of 16 on the European Tour. This is his first ever third-round match on the Euro stage, and he's on the brink. He's throwing first for a place in the quarter-final and a meeting with the 31-time European Tour champion Michael van Gerwen. He has Peter Wright on the ropes here.
Sounds ludicrous, that, doesn't it? 31-time champion. It sounds as ludicrous as 16-time world champion Phil Taylor. Snakey needs trebles.
Well,
needs a minimum 1 to be in this leg. He's got 1. He's got 2. He's a dart ahead.
That makes a big difference. That really does make a very big difference indeed. Kanik really could do with at least, well, 60 here.
161.
Not 1 2-treble visit from Kanik in this leg. That is telling. But only 1 from Snakebite, which might be massive. Can he give himself a really nice number? What does he want to do here? Does he want to go treble 19 or go 25? He gets the 45 to leave double 18. It's out of his hands. It's all up to Tytus.
Well, treble 17 is the only way to go, and it's not happened for him. And Peter Wright, having squandered 7 match darts, now has 3 more bites at double 18 for another 6-5 win this weekend. He had 1 yesterday against Chris Dobie, and he's got 1 today against Poland's Tytus Kanik. Agonising defeat for Tito, but it's Peter Wright who advances to the quarterfinals, and Peter Wright and Michael van Gerwen will meet on the European Tour stage for the first time in over a year. Peter Wright, a 6-5 winner once again, mops his brow and breathes a big, big sigh of relief. Squandered 7 match darts in the 10th leg, but made no mistake when he was given the opportunity in the decider. Peter Wright is 3.
Und heißen herzlich willkommen im Viertelfinale Snakebite Peter Wright. Peter, it was an exciting game, wasn't it? Pretty tough.
I made it tough on myself. I missed lots of doubles earlier on, but this crowd's amazing. You got me through it with your support. Thank you.
Also sagt, hat sich das Spiel selbst leicht gemacht, aber ihr habt ihm dabei geholfen, dass doch noch aufgestiegen ist. Herzlichen Dank dafür. Peter, I have a special question. Have you ever heard of original Steirerbum?
No.
Probably most of these guys are real Steirerbum. These are the inhabitants of Graz. Can you say hello to them? Hello, Steirerbum.
What's it? Hello, Steirerbum.
That's brilliant. This is yours. Peter Wright, looking forward to see you later. Thank you.